Whatever keeps you crazy, whatever keeps you calling me baby, whatever keeps that fire in your eyes, your body on mine, that keeps you keeping me up all night. I'll take you wherever you need me to take you.
Welcome to Sunday Songwriters, episode 4, 5, 6. I'm not really sure where this one is going to fall as we drop them out, but I am always excited to be back on the microphone with another songwriter who has participated or will be participating in the Sunday Songwriter Series in the Spirit Room in Mansfield, Ohio. On this episode, we have Mr. Matt Rogers from Nashville, Tennessee. Matt, you were in the Spirit Room last year, and you're coming back in August of 2026, and we're excited to see you coming back to town. How is everything going in Nashville right now?
Man, it's going great, man. I'm ready to be back up there with you folks. I loved it up there last time, and thanks for having me back. And of course, this time I'll be coming back with my friend Kylie Sackley. So that's going to be a whole lot of fun. Yeah, things are, we had a pretty crazy storm here, so there's still a few people without power, but for the most part, we're getting kind of back and running up here.
So there are some areas that still don't have power in Nashville?
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it? It's been like 2.5 weeks. Yeah, it was a pretty wicked storm came through. It's just all the ice. We don't get much of that, and all the trees fall and hit all the power lines and all of that kind of stuff. So,
did you get a chance to get out of town? Have you been in town throughout all of that? Have you been on the road recently? What's the show schedule like?
We busted out, man. We actually went down to Mexico and got married during that period of time, which was kind of nice. We were really nervous at first because the storm hit really like early Sunday morning on Sunday and Monday. And on Monday, they had closed the Nashville airport altogether. And on Tuesday, they let a handful of flights out. We flew out Wednesday morning. So we left all the snow and the ice for everybody here. We shot down to Mexico and got a little sunburn and came back and hopefully, and most everything had been restored by the time we got back.
Congratulations on the wedding. I knew that was coming up. You guys were taking the trip, making the destination. I haven't been to Mexico on the resort side or anything like that. Anything you recommend? Any tips or any do's or don'ts when you go down there?
Man, I don't know if I have much of a checklist or anything, but right before COVID and definitely after COVID, they have a direct flight from Nashville, so we kind of started taking like 2 or 3 day trips down there to go to some of all the inclusives because it was just an easy getaway, direct flight, relatively affordable. And just loved it down there because the weather's nice pretty much all year, except for the really hot summer months. So it's really nice, in the colder, crappy months here to get away, get down to 80 degrees and sunshine.
Good deal. Congratulations again on the marriage. We're excited for you guys, and
thanks so much.
Glad you guys had a safe trip. So speaking of international travel, one of the things you and I've talked about this in the past, and one of the things I've enjoyed watching is you back and forth across the ocean playing music. And I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about how that started, several years ago when you started going overseas, getting into Europe, and how it's kind of grown over the years. It looks like you're going back this spring for a repeat engagement and something I think you've been involved in the past. I was wondering if you could share a little bit about that with us.
Yeah, it's been pretty wild to see how Europe has adopted, especially songwriters and country music. I don't think it's much of a surprise anymore. I think country music's probably the biggest genre on earth. The top 3, I think, highest streamed artists in the world are all country artists now. So that's been great for the genre. There's been this huge expansion, but I think people really connect with the authenticity and the stripped down kind of environment of a songwriter type show. I don't know if there's either not much of it there or if it's just a little bit different because of how particularly country artists write songs or how they put on those kind of shows. But I've really seen it take off, whether it be a songwriter show or like a songwriter round with multiple songwriters. And it's been crazy to see how well it's been adopted in the countries that I've been to. So this will be I guess my fourth year going back, and I'm going 3 different times this year over to Europe. So I'm really excited. I'm going end of April to open up a tour for a friend of mine named Jade Helliwell. I think she's an 11-time British CMA award-winning artist. Dear friends of mine, and she's got a new record coming out. Really excited to go tour the UK with her. And then I go back later in May to do one of the biggest country music festivals in all of UK called Buckle and Boots in Manchester. And they've extended Buckle and Boots to the country of Switzerland this year as well. So I'll be going on that little leg as well with some of my favorite pals from here in Nashville and some of my favorite pals from overseas. So it's very cool to have the opportunity to travel and see new places, but it's even more crazy to be able to connect with this different fan base. You know, these people that are just so hungry to get this kind of music over there, because, you know, it's living here in Nashville. We have live music 24/7, 365 everywhere. We have live music at the McDonald's here. So to go somewhere where it's super appreciated and people are really hungry for it is a lot of fun. It really is. And I'm super excited to go back and thankful for the opportunities.
So are the listening room experiences over there similar, to what you get, what we're doing here at the Sunday Songwriter Series, or what you might experience in Nashville? Is it the same kind of setup? Are they following that model, or is it something a little bit different?
For the most part, it's very similar to what we do, and I think they very much like that. With the success of the television show Nashville, places like the Bluebird Cafe have gotten a lot more popular. For instance, I played the Bluebird Cafe this last Saturday here in Nashville, and tickets go on sale at 8 a.m. for that show, like a month out, and they sell out in like 60, 90 seconds. Yeah, every single show that's at the Bluebird now is sold out. So it's cool to see people going towards that. The whole town of Nashville, the whole genre of country music was kind of built on the back of songwriters. There was a select group of people that put the song first and the story first, and realized that, it all starts there. That is the growth of what something very special can be. It all starts with the crafting of a great song. Now, you have to find the artist that can relate to that story and record that song and make it their own, or make it something that, changes the world per se. But it's nice to have people that are rooted in the fact of a great song stands the test of time. And that's kind of where I've found myself. I try to really hone that craft, and I try to get better at that every day. I've seen just the power of a great song in person, and I want to be someone that has that. I want to have something that outlives me, that outlasts me, that leaves a mark on the world, and that's really why I find myself so infatuated with it and chasing it all the time.
Yeah, I think it's exciting to see a growth in that type of venue or experience where it's much more up close and personal and intimate. And everything is cyclical, right? Everything comes around. We got to a point where arenas, huge festivals were extremely popular. There still are, but now I think we're starting to see the resurgence of that interpersonal connection between the stage and the audience in a small room setting. And the fact that you have the opportunity to do that in the form that you love, right, is exciting to see the popularity of it come back. But we still have both, right? Still have huge festivals where you have full band and 40,000 people. But you could also do it with one person, small stage of 40 people, and it'd be just as special. So that's awesome. to have that wide range of experiences. I know that you have spent some time in venues like Ole Red, right, on Broadway, and doing that. So you have a wide range of experience. And I did see that you're headed to Dothan this summer, I think, for the Songwriters Festival in Alabama. Is that right?
Yeah, that's coming up. I think it's coming up in the end of March here. So that's going to be a lot of fun. That's something that I've really sought after in the last few years is going to some different songwriter festivals. And the reason I love that so much is I love performing in those type of rooms and those type of settings, but it reinvigorates my creativity every time, because there's always, a handful of people that I've never met or heard of there. And I get to hear them write a song that is just an unbelievable song usually. And that sparks just the whole creative process for me. It gives me a whole new set of motivation, and kind of relights that fire over and over again about why I am doing what I'm doing, why I'm so infatuated with it. Like it's, I just love the craft of taking an idea and turning it into a 3-minute story. It's crazy when I break it down. I talk about this often with my friends about how much the industry and music business has changed over the years, whether it be, 8-tracks to cassettes, to CDs, to streaming, or how much radio's changed, and all these different things that have changed within the industry and marketing and how they do the whole thing. But one thing that's not changed since the start of all of it is a great song and a great performance. So I try to focus on that, and I think that's what makes those situations in those rooms so cool too, is, when you play these big stages with pyrotechnics and lasers and hazers and the whole thing, there's a lot of production that goes into that you can almost put, makeup on a pig, if that makes sense, but when you are doing these intimate rooms and these songwriter type rooms, and it's just you, the guitar or the instrument that you wrote it on, and the song, there's nowhere for that to hide. It's either the song can stand on its own 2 legs or it can't. And it's a really good metric playing those type of rooms to try to figure out the songs that you should maybe go in the studio and record too. So because you can see, you get real-time feedback. I mean, if you're watching the crowd while you're performing this stuff, you get real-time feedback on this stuff. And it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see how someone takes a song, when you're delivering it for the first time, you tell a little story about where it came from. It's neat to see how it's received.
So I think we talk a lot about who our songwriting influences are a lot, and I know, as somebody who's tried to do a lot of writing myself, that's a very hard question to answer. So I'm not going to ask you that one right now. First, I want to ask you: have you ever considered who your stage presence influence might be, your performer? Like, who is the performer that you watched, or maybe there's more than one that you grew up on and thought, if I'm going to do it on stage, that's the way I want to do it? Have you ever considered that?
Yeah, and my influences are so vast. Like the spectrum of my influence is crazy, only because my parents were into a ton of different music, so I was exposed to so much. I think my first 3 concerts were like Alan Jackson, the Beach Boys, and Elton John, or something like that. Like, I mean, I was exposed to so much music because my parents are both music lovers. So you can't help but have that influence kind of seep through and come out in your own music. And there's so many folks that I think are just pure great entertainers that I was able to see and be introduced to. So it's so hard to just kind of name one, but like you talk about some of these greats, Garth Brooks is great when he comes out on stage. Like, he's got, no matter how big the room is, he's got them right here. They're just right in the palm of his hand the entire time. It's cool to see that kind of magnetism from an artist. From it almost seems bigger than life. It's a hard thing to put a description on, to talk about the energy that is getting transferred in those kind of moments. it's cool to try to put the pieces of it all together. You take, all right, here's some influences from some of my favorite songwriters, and how did they do the things that they did, and how, here's from my favorite entertainers, and let's sprinkle a little bit of what they did. And it's just this weird fusion that makes you who you are. And you know, you're constantly evolving, you're constantly learning, you just want to take it to the next level, you want to keep pushing yourself, you want to write better songs, you want to put on a better show, you want to be more entertaining, more creative. And it's just like yoga or math, you know, it's like you're never going to beat it. It just gets to the next level.
You talked about, I think Garth Brooks. Anyone who was born between like 1970 and 2000 who plays music or wanted to play music would probably list Garth Brooks as some sort of influence, right? As a performer, or just he had an influence, right? It was one of my first CDs that I ever got. I remember um, one of the one of the most influential moments in live music I ever saw was Butch Walker from Marvelous Three. You know, we said you're from Nashville, but you're originally from Georgia. You live in Nashville, but you're from Georgia. Butch Walker's from Cartersville. He's another
That's right.
Georgia man. And Butch was at the Tabernacle in Atlanta, and he unplugged his acoustic guitar. There's probably 800 people in the room. Walks out into the middle of the crowd, and you could hear him kick over a beer bottle. There's a recording of it somewhere out there, but like I remember thinking, like, if I would ever be able to do that, I want that, right? I want to be able to have that sort of, I don't know what's the word, like I want to be have them in the palm of my hand like that. It's pretty impressive to see performers who have that ability. Um, so let's moving on. What do you have? I know over the last year you worked really hard on promoting awareness through Camouflage, which is an extremely powerful song. And I want to give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about that. I know you've talked a lot about where it came from, but if you could talk about what Camouflage is really quickly, and what it's supporting, and in the initiative that's supporting, if you feel like giving us a little bit of information on that.
Yeah, it was inspired by the loss of a friend. Um, and my long-term guitar player, Nick Reed, who's also a U.S. Army veteran, he's lost several friends that he served with, including the friend of mine he was deployed with at the same time. But he's lost several friends that way that have come home and have struggled with their mental health, and inevitably ended up taking their own life. And I got this news about my particular friend on the road, and uh, it was just crippling, because you know, this was a husband and a father, um, and he just was the least likely person that you would have ever thought to have been struggling. And you know, I told my friend Nick about it, and later that night when we got done with the show that we were playing, we got to the hotel room and talked about it, and inevitably the guitars came out, and we wrote a song that was more or less for therapy, not really for anyone to hear. Um, and, and I ended up showing it to a couple of veteran friends of mine, and one thing led to another, and we partnered with Brothers Keeper Veteran Foundation. We put that song out, and 100% of the royalties, all the streams, all the radio play, all the downloads, all of that goes directly to them. We have a co-branded T-shirt that all the proceeds from that shirt go to their organization as well. And it's been something that has given my career and my music a whole nother set of purpose. It's been really humbling to see how it's been accepted, and the amount of reach that we got with it, and the amount of work that we were able to accomplish with it, the amount of money we were able to raise, and getting to see that organization up close, and the things that they do. Um, you know, we, in the 22 years in the global war on terror in both Iraq and Afghanistan, we lost 7,800 troops killed in action. And that's not to water down heroes that paid the ultimate price fighting for our freedom. But in that same period of time, we had over 120,000 veterans take their own life. There's a massive disconnect there when these folks are transitioning from military life back to civilian life. And it's great to see these people that have such compassion and such empathy and such a heart for these warriors to help them. And To find myself being a little piece of that was really humbling. And like I said, it gave me an entire new set of purpose that I've committed, myself to continuing to do. I think I'll always be a part of these organizations now and helping out whenever I'm allowed. And it was a really special moment for me, and it showed me how I can use my platform and how I can use my music to impact change. And it's been really special to be a part of this whole thing. I think you're on mute.
Sorry. Thanks.
Okay.
If you're listening and you haven't heard Camouflage, I highly recommend you go check that out. Some of the streaming proceeds are supporting the cause, correct?
100% of the streaming proceeds, every penny it makes.
So
And I think it's the best music video I've ever made too. Some friends that are quite big social media influencers that are also veterans were gracious enough and donated their time to star and be in this to help expand the reach of it as well. So the music video is not for the faint of heart because it's real, but it's by far the most powerful video I've ever been a part of. So very proud of it as well.
yeah, go check out Camouflage. Support the cause. We appreciate what you did there to raise that awareness, and it's a very powerful piece of music. So kudos to you on that. Now I'm going to take an abrupt turn, and I'm going to tell you that in the last fall, I reached out to a friend of mine who lives in South Georgia and said, I want to write. I'm in a writing lull, and I want to write a silly Christmas song. And I got about one stanza into it, and then you put out Margaritas for Christmas and completely wrecked my initiative. You beat me. You beat me to it, and I was like, I'm done. I can't now because Matt got to it first. But tell me where that came from. Was it the same thing? I just want to do something different. I've always appreciated your sense of humor in writing over the years, by the way, and that one was pretty amazing. I listened to it quite a bit.
Well, I've written too many of those really silly songs that nobody's ever going to hear, and for a good reason. Um, but yeah, it was a typical writing appointment day. I went down to the road to write, and I was walking into Curb Word to write with a couple of friends of mine, and it was in July, I think, a couple years ago. And I don't know, let's be conservative. It was 173 degrees in Nashville. And, I think I got sunburnt walking from the parking lot, that kind of heat. And we got in there and I was like, well, what do you guys feel like writing today? And my buddy Brian Bunn was like, well, we should write a Christmas song. This is when they write them. And I was like, dude, I'm getting ready to go to Mexico next week. And I was like, I'm not feeling super Christmassy on the fact that the rubber on the bottom of my boots melted on the walk in. But he was like, so tell me about Mexico, and I told him that whole situation. He was like, what about if it was a trip where you went to Mexico for Christmas? And Margaritas for Christmas was born. A couple hours later, we had that song, and we sat on it for a couple years. We kind of kicked it around town to see if anybody was going to want to bite at it. And I had kind of made some adjustments in my career as of last year, July 1st. I kind of was changing management and changing distribution and changing a bunch of other things, and was kind of put my record that I'm currently recording now for some songs and new music to come out this year kind of on the back burner. And I had this one just sitting around. I was like, well, you know what, no better time. And it turned out being kind of crazy because for whatever reason, I kind of hit an off year in Nashville. No artists really seem to be putting out any Christmas music this year. So I was able to get pretty decent reach on different PR fronts and outlets and things like that because they had nothing else really to cover. So my silly little Christmas song actually did quite good for me. So
it was a lot of fun. It was definitely a breath of fresh air up here when it was super cold, and I walked around singing it frequently. So you got me.
There you go.
All right. What else you got coming up? You got anything else coming up in the next couple of months that you want to make sure we mention before we get out of here? I know we mentioned it at the beginning, but you're coming back to the Sunday Songwriter Series in the Spirit Room on August 18th with Kylie, and those tickets are on sale. If you want to get in on that show and you're in the area, you're in Ohio in general, you want to make sure that you grab those because I believe it's about half sold out right now. So it is a pretty small
That's
room.
great.
Yeah, but those move quickly. What else you got going on?
Yeah, and Kylie's so awesome too. She's an Aussie, but she's got great songs, several songs that you will have heard from major artists. So like Walker Hayes and Sam Hunt and some others. But she's really excited about that, and as am I. And we have a lot of fun on the road together. And right now, I am so excited because I am making a record that I've wanted to make for a long time. And I'm working with one of my favorite guitar players on planet Earth, a guy named Rob McNally. A quick Google search of him will show anybody, your favorite country artist or your favorite artist in general. He's more than likely been the session guitar player on it. And he agreed to produce this record, and we are playing the heck out of some guitar on it and writing some really neat arrangements and really cool parts. And just kind of getting started into that. We've tracked about half the record. I'm going in to cut some more vocal stuff this week, and could not be more excited about the sounds that we're getting in this new music. So I'm really excited for you guys to hear that. We're trying to make guitar solos great again. It's going to be for real. Some of my roots stuff back in Macon, Georgia, with the Marshall Tucker Band and the Allman Brothers Band, and some of my favorite music in the world. And you'll be able to hear that influence in there, but still have my typical storytelling and my typical style of writing. So very, very excited about new music coming. We haven't announced the first single, but I'll let you in. It's probably going to be coming in the end of March, 1st of April. So keep your ears peeled for that. And it's really inspired music. I'm really, really excited for folks to hear the new stuff.
Awesome. Can't wait to hear the new stuff. I'm always looking forward to what you're dropping out there, because you guys do such a good job on the socials at getting that stuff out and making sure we're aware of it. You can follow Matt. It's Matt Rogers Country, right, on the socials?
Or mattrogerscountry.com, and you can sign up for the email list so you never miss anything. We are constantly sending out updates and letting you know when we're in your area playing, and when there's new music coming and new merch drops and all of the things. So that's where you can stay on the cutting edge, but at Matt Rogers Country on any social media, and you can follow along there as well.
Awesome. Matt, we appreciate the time today, and can't wait to see you again in August. It's always good to talk to you. Make sure you're following Sunday Songwriter Series on Facebook so you can see the latest shows when we drop, and follow us on YouTube so you know when the podcasts are coming out. Sunday Songwriters. And you can find it on just about wherever you listen to podcasts as well. I do want to give a really quick mention before we get out of here. I got this very cool hat from Bandwagon Brewing in South Georgia, but the company that makes these hats, Indian Leather Hat Company, down in South Georgia, a young man who hasn't even graduated high school yet, who's a budding entrepreneur, and he's making some pretty awesome hats. So check out Indian Leather Hat Company on Facebook, and they will ship. I just got one all the way from South Georgia to Ohio. So check them out and make sure you give them a look. It's got some cool stuff coming out. Matt, thank you so much for taking the time to get on the Sunday Songwriters podcast with us, and safe travels overseas between now and when we see you in Ohio in August. Last time was it summer when you were in Ohio last time, or was it winter?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe it was the end of summer.
Oh, we're not booking you you're not one of the unfortunate Southern. Eric Erdman is the one that always keeps coming in the winter. And the South Alabama boys keep coming when it's like 12 degrees outside.
It's a nice departure from the 75 degrees in Mobile, probably at the time.
Yeah, I had when the first time Abe Partridge came up. It was March and it was snowing, and he got out of the car and he's like, "What have I done?" I was like, "Man, I'll make sure we book you. We'll book you in the spring next time."
Absolutely. Hey, Clint, thank you so much for having me. Can't wait to see you guys again. Take care.
Yep, you take care. Thanks, man.
Thank you for your service, son, you're good to go. Sorry about your buddies that ain't coming home. It's a little late in life to be someone new. camouflage.